But yeah, cheers, mate.
I knew about you from, so obviously Doc Lambert, my surgeon, knew of you and stuff. And when I started doing the podcast, he said that you'd be someone good to speak to. And obviously we reached out a while back, and then finally here, mate. So thanks again.
Aye.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Not a drama.
When before we get started, what do you think people will know you from then, or?
Oh, gee. Well,
when they think of Corbin Mackin, what do people think?
British people will say Ninja Warrior, and the rest of the world would be Beastmaster on Netflix. So nobody's seen it in the UK. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah.
Is it not out in the UK? No.
Oh no, it is, but no one freaking watches it.
Right,
or no one's watched it. I don't. Well, that's a lie. I think people do, but you know what Brits are like. We don't want to glorify anyone, do we? We don't want to give anyone a big head. So we go. They wouldn't watch it, but they just won't tell me.
Pretend they don't.
Yeah, pretend they don't. Like, yeah, what was that you were on? Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
So maybe just before we started, then recall you were telling me that you were born up in Birkenhead, so you're a wool. That's what we'd call you, a wool.
A wool. Okay. What is that? Why? What is that? What's a wool?
Just a woolly back.
A woolly back. Okay.
A woolly back, yeah. Like Tom's a wool. Just basically someone on the outskirts of the pool, really, maybe just not a proper Scouser. So you were born in Birkenhead, and then you said your dad was in the Navy, and then you had to move about a bit and ended up in Plymouth.
That's it, yeah. And then back in Plymouth, where the beaches are and the luxury weather.
Hey, we've got a few beaches in Liverpool. I have
not real.
Maybe not the weather, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been up that way. I'll be honest with you, I ain't seen no beaches. No, I think you have got like one beach, and you like just one.
Yeah, well, Crosby Beach. It's not the greatest, but it's okay.
Yeah. Mate, it's good. It's quality Crosby. I enjoy it. It's a good beach, yeah.
Also, it's a lovely beach, but it's not a beach to kind of.
It's not. It's not Saint-Tropez.
No. You're not been down Cornwall then?
Mate, I'm going down to Cornwall in a couple of weeks to Weybridge.
Good. In fact, you have been Cornwall because you went to docks, surfing.
Yeah, I go there probably once or twice a year to get down to Cornwall. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, mate.
Yeah.
So how, obviously we've done a podcast with the doc, and it was our very first ever episode. Me and Andy travelled all the way down to Gatwick in an airport hotel to do it. So how would you know the doc then?
Which what? I don't know what.
Doc Lambert.
Oh, mate. I know him from
I think everyone in Plymouth.
Afghanistan. Afghanistan. He was out there same time as me, and he works with my mum. So my mum's a nurse, in Derriford Hospital. So that was where the main acquaintances had come from originally, before we even went out to Afghanistan. So it was there really, and then that was it. It just grows from there, doesn't it? Bond just grows from there.
Everyone people who we've had on, it just seems like everyone seems to know him. Like he's like some mythical sort of legend.
Nah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, no, he's cracking. He really is.
So, mate, you mentioned there that your dad was in the Navy as well, and then you also mentioned Afghanistan. So you ended up joining the army. Was that where it come from? I mean, I know Plymouth's a military town anyway, or was it more your dad being in the Navy? What was it?
No, so all my family were pretty much military orientated. So from my dad, his brothers, altogether, they accumulated over like 140, 150 years of service between them, between that generation, which is insane, really. So I think it's just like, it's in your blood, isn't it? You feel like it feels like it's the right path for you, especially when you're not very intelligent like me at school. You kind of are reduced to options, and you've only got, I'm not going to be a scientist, am I, or a freaking doctor? So I'm quite limited to options. So yeah, military it was for me, and that was quite an exciting time.
How old was you when you joined?
18. Yeah, right, so I did. When I left school, I went to college. Did a 2-year sports science level 3 course, equivalent to like an A level. And I was just thinking, what am I doing with my life? What a waste of time this is. I'm sick of it. Like, I can't even write to save my life, regardless. So, yeah, I thought maybe I need to give up the pen and replace it for a rifle. So,
where did you Where did you train? What was the whole like setup, and you know, and then following on from that, when did you go to Afghanistan?
So joined 2006, 2007. Was on that winter training, which was shite in Yorkshire Dales up in Catterick.
Oh,
and, yeah. So Catterick Garrison is where you go training, and Andy's already thinking, "Fucking hell, he's in the army. Oh, here he goes with his fucking dips. Here he goes. Yeah.
Big up any crazy army story. I know
Oh, here we go. And hey, I'm proof that some slipped the net, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Catterick Garrison training up there, and it come to the point where finishing out the passing out parade and etc., and you get to choose where you want to go. And I chose 1st Battalion, the Rifles, which were the first tour. So sorry, the next in line to go on tour to Afghanistan. And you know, when you join, what it's like. You're there because you want a good time. I say a good time in the respect of you're joining the front line because you want to get some action. You want to go out there and, you know, you want to go out there, hold a gun and start shooting people. Like, that's pretty much the freaking pinnacle of it. You don't join up there to freaking stag on and go to the naffy every day and get fat and drink beers. That's not me. So did that, passed out, won an award, best shot, which was pretty cool. And went down that route of joining the 1st Battalion Rifles, and then straight into pretty much pre-deployment training or building up to that point. And yeah, so pre-deployment training happened. We did it with 42 Commando. And we were attached with 3 Commando Brigade. So we had to do certain tests and that just to make sure we were good enough, so to speak. And yeah, so that was it pretty much. That was me training and straight into the thick of it, really.
So what deployment was this to Afghanistan?
Say again?
What deployment was this? What year?
Herrick 9. So Herrick 9, 2008.
Yeah, that's what I was on, Herrick 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Was this at the height of the Afghan war then?
Pretty much.
2008.
If you look at casualties, it's from around then, really.
Yeah, 2009 was the deadliest year.
That's it. Yeah, 2008, 2009 was pretty insane, really. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
So, what was your role on Herrick 9? Because obviously, I know 4-5 where I was based. We were stationed. 4-2 were doing kind of strike ops. Where did you?
Yeah. So we were patrol bases in Garmzia, so in Green Zone. So we were just there, pretty much stopping everyone coming up from, where is it? I'm trying to get maps right. Basically, there's a place called Route Cowboys, and it was just the main road up into your main fighting areas and stuff like that. But there was everyone coming in from, trying to think of the country, not Iran, freaking. Anyway, one of the countries where all the fighters and they've done their training, and they come all the way through, don't they, to start attacking us.
Pakistan, was it?
Pakistan, that's the one.
Yeah.
So we were there pretty much guarding the route off of Pakistan. So everyone coming up, we were there to search and whatever, but I'm not being funny. It's ridiculous. You never really searched or stopped that many people. They could get through our lines that easy. Like, it's just ridiculous. They could just hide their guns. But regardless, even if they had guns, as Andy would know, with Card Alpha is you ain't going to be able to shoot them anyway or do pretty much anything, to be honest. You can
rules of engagement, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even if they had got, like, so you couldn't, if you found something, I don't know, let's say you found a load of guns, what you can you hold them?
No, pretty much. You're at the point where you ask questions. Why are you holding weapons? What are they for? Etc. All that sort of stuff. But you won't be able to do anything apart from, I think usually we'll give them to the Afghan border police. They will take them away for questioning, but usually they'll get paid off or whatever, or just let loose back into the chain, or they'll just get a free ride.
Yeah, that's what I found. One of my kind of lasting memories of Afghan was just how corrupt and just how it was just like going back 1,000 years in time, essentially, wasn't it? It was just like
win.
Yeah,
can win in one respect, no.
And that time, obviously, we were there at a similar time. It was a place when we'd already been there since 2001 was the initial kind of going over there. So now we're talking 2008, and it was still fucking shithole, wasn't it? It was just still like, it was still lawless. There was nothing really,
No, I was looking out there on stag all the time, and every time I was looking out, and you're looking at what you're protecting, like all that life, and you just think, wow, like, in not trying to be negative, but what are we actually protecting out there? What are we risking our lives for? But then again, to them, that's their way of living. So you have to, in another light, respect that, haven't you? You've got to go, well, that's their culture. That's how they're living. That's where their economy is at the minute. So who am I to judge that that's not worth saving in one?
Yeah, of course. It was so crazy for me. I always remember, and again, like you just said then, it's their culture. I always remember walking into a compound and I got asked to jump up onto the roof to give cover. So a couple of lads like kind of bumped me up. And as I jumped onto this compound roof, my hands to pull myself up, my hand was maybe this far away, like half a foot away from a human shit on the roof. And I nearly put my hand in this human shit. And it was just like, what? Why are you having a shit on your roof? Why are you climbing up onto your roof and having a shit? And it was just one of the many bizarre things that happened in Afghanistan that you just don't really know why it happened. And, you know.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, it was probably one of your lads.
Yeah.
I need a sneaky poo. They got in contact and they just thought, I need a shit.
Oh, a shit on the roof. Honestly, I always remember it. It was just like, what the fuck is, why are you? And then, you know, there's goats walking in and out of the houses, and there's, you know, hay bales in the corner of your house, and there's kids just walking, and it's just it literally was like going back 1,000 years in time. It was like medieval times.
Yeah, I remember Andy saying. I remember you saying that how like the landscape was just incredible though. Like it was just something out of
so
like
beautiful,
and like at night time, there's no obviously light pollution, so you can just like the amount of stars that you can see is just.
Oh, it's insane! I remember going on. I remember going on a patrol, right? These are one of the funny moments that I take away with you. And we had, we went out basically putting like a recce position in place, but staying overnight just because we had a hunch that any positions were basically looking at ambushing us. So we thought we'd go out at night to see if someone's like in position, but ready for taking us out to more, like on one of our patrols. Anyway, we get out to our position, right? And we just get a bed in, for example. We all get our arcs and all that sort of stuff, and then what we do, we said to the lads over on our on the radio, right? And this was 4-2 Commando mortars that we had attached with us, right? We said, yeah, lads, is the position on the map or whatever, put in some illume for us, just so we're all in fire position, see if the enemy's already there, we can start, you know, taking them out or whatever. We told the lads to put them in over this position. This illume comes in, right? And all you hear is it obviously blow up above our heads, and it just illumes us up in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But all you hear is the tail fin from the mortar round going, woo, 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 woo. Obviously, we're thinking, shit, if this lands on us, we're going to get decapitated. All you should hear is all scrambling underneath the Wimix net that was with us. Literally straight under there. Yeah, that was a funny moment, man. It's just so fucked up that, you know, we're going out there to try and find the enemy where we're getting illuminated ourselves.
Yeah, there's so many moments, isn't there, where probably at the time it's still crazy, but even when you look back maybe years later, you may be sitting over a beer having a little reminisce, and you think like, just what a crazy time that was in my life. It's just mad. Absolutely mental. What was it like in the area? I know I was in Sangin. What was the kind of the daily routines like with the firefights, with the IEDs?
So I did this. Well, I was in the position where you know, when you go out there, you're in your own multiples, and I just got put towards being point man pretty much. I was pretty much given the Barmer. So when you're given Barmer, you're then acting as point man, aren't you? Sometimes that's swapped between the ECN.
What's point man? Just for
so point man is just basically people at the front of the platoon. So you're going out on patrol. The forefront guy basically there to protect the rest of the guys behind you with the Barmering kit, which is a bit bullshit.
That's a metal
really.
Detector.
Yeah, Barmering kit, metal detector, exactly, which you can buy at Argos for about £15.99, I believe. They just painted it green, and so that was pretty much my role out there. So I remember finding quite a few IEDs actually, which obviously, and you know, pretty disgusting bits of kit. And in one sense, you've got to be really alert to the ground signs and stuff like that. But at the same time, when you're looking at the ground signs and you're trying to find this stuff to protect, first and foremost, obviously yourself, because you're the first foot to go and stand on that area. You've got the rest of the multiple behind you, which you also want to protect their lives at the same time. But how the hell am I supposed to keep an eye on the very front arcs of enemy positions, possibly looking at one of the freaking, you know, take you out at the same time? So it's a pretty shit role really in one respect. But then again, a real good role if you look at either the decision of carrying the ECM, which is basically a big heavy bit of equipment to stop any radio waves setting off IEDs that are going to be in your direction you're traveling. So, but I don't know if Andy ever carried one or not. Did you ever carry an ECM?
Not the big heavy ones. I was a machine gunner, so if I ever did, it was only ever the light ECM.
Yeah, like a lot of the Marines, that they like using vehicles. They don't really use the ground that much. No, but to be honest, why not? If you've got a vehicle there, I know which one I want to take.
I was never done very few vehicle patrols, but yeah, I think in your patrol there's obviously different roles for everyone, and I think being point man was never. I've done it a few times, but not much. And then obviously you've got the guys who are carrying more of the heavier kit, and there's obviously perks to each role, isn't there, and stuff. But yeah, obviously being the front man and standing there with a metal detector wouldn't be my first pick of jobs.
No, it's not great as well when you got your Sarge man in your mortar screaming at you to move faster and keep going, and then you know you're hearing these signs.
That's the big thing, you know. It was you know, you're aware that guys behind you are carrying a lot of kit. You're aware that you've got an objective and a mission to do for that day. But yeah, you're the first person treading on this path that could be linked with IEDs. So you're having this constant battle to think, we need to go as quickly as we can to maybe catch the enemy, you know, surprise the enemy. But then I need to look out at every single ground sign. I need to, you know, concentrate on every beep that the metal detector makes. It could be, you know, a bomb, and it's such a horrible. I was second man for a lot of my patrols, and my best mate Ian, the one who I eventually got blown up with, you know, it's such a tough task. You've got guys behind you moaning, saying, you know, we're going too slow or we're going too fast.
Yeah, hurry up.
And then at the same time, he's there with a metal detector, and every fucking 2 steps, it's going beep, beep, beep. And you're thinking, is that a bomb? Is that not a bomb? And it's fucking, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's
the thing is that's the same. I think though, after a period of time, that experience come through. Like I remember the very first patrol I had. Soon it was at night time. Got literally left the patrol base, and I'm not being funny. Every single one of us, I'll be honest, we were shitting ourselves. There's that many IEDs out there. We're walking out there. It's dark. All you're hearing about is IEDs going off left, right, and centre. And it was literally every time I walk, the slightest noise, you're so alert. Your whole perception is on the highest alert point it can ever be, because it's your first day, right? And oh my God, we couldn't even get 10 meters without stopping. So many, geez, it took us probably a couple of days to start going, actually, no, we're fine here. That noise isn't going to be one, this, that, the other. And you know, you do adapt and you do adjust, but that was hard in itself. And if you look at that when you get home, I find out that's where it really does like hit home and in your head thinking, that's a fucked up situation to be in.
Like, I always think that you're such a young age as well.
Oh, you're 18 years old, 18, 19 were you as well? Like,
19, 20, yeah.
You're thinking you're 19-year-old lad who's got the responsibility of 50 guys behind him, and you've got to find the bombs before anyone stands on it. It's fucked up, isn't it, when you think of it like that?
Like I said, and then you got your Sarge man going, hurry the fuck up, fucking hell. And I'm just like, fuck me, give me a break, man. Like, and that it reminds me, actually, one patrol did it as well. Sometimes, right, and I give a lot of respect to them, the locals, right? Some of them are real good, okay, and they just want to be there to protect their kids, their family. So sometimes when you have the Taliban, Al Qaeda, whatever, planting these IEDs, when they're gone, we had one of the patrols that we were on, one of the locals basically looked all suspicious on the front of his door. And we're all thinking, oh, this don't look good. Why does he look suspicious? Like, for fuck's sake. Anyway, our terp that we are, our interpreter, he just messaged saying, hey, the guy looks suspicious. I'm going to go and speak to him. I think he wants a word. And I'm like, really? He looks like he wants to freaking point us in a direction, you know, which is going to inflict pain on us. And the interpreter just said that. We went to speaking to him. And he said, basically, he's pointing down the road. He's saying, Taliban have planted IED down that road, and he said he's fearing for the safety of his kids. Can we basically go down there? Can you go down there and find it or do something? And I'm just thinking, my sergeant's like, yeah, right, lads, let's go. He said there's an idea. I'm like, this is a path right into open ground as well. And all I'm thinking is, right, ambush, IEDs, the lot, we're fucked. So yeah, so off I go down with my barmering kit, and I'm not being funny. That was the most like another of the most awkward position I've ever been in, because this is where you know there's an IED. There's one down this alleyway, right? And then now I'm going to have to pick it up. Every step I take, I am putting all my trust, right, into my metal detector and my stepping that I'm doing. I've never felt so light on my feet. Ever had, but it doesn't make any difference. I could be as light as I want. It's going to set it off if I stand on it and if I miss it. So I'm there barmering down, and every sign I was getting, it doesn't matter if there was the slightest noise, I was down on my belt buckle. Down on my belt buckle. All I had over my PRR was, come on, fucking move faster. Honestly, that's disgusting from my own sergeant man, to be honest. If he ever listens to this, then he'll know. But, you know, I feel a bit of, you know, respect for him in one sense, but on his next tour, he did lose his legs, which is unfortunate, to say the least. But yeah, so I just feel like that pressure on me as a young lad, they're looking at protecting the lives behind me, but not just that. Like I said, I'm 50-50 to get it myself. So I've got to try and think of me in one respect. So anyway, I'm going down the alleyway. Eventually I'll come out and I find it. I do find it. But like I said, the differences in tones was really noticeable. All right. But I'm going up against the wall, everything, you know, the walls that are made out of mud or whatever. I'm literally going everywhere across this whole path pretty much. It was so shit, because like I said, it's somewhere. And if I miss it, or if it's over towards the right side of the path, that I'm not really barmering that much, because we're in like some of us would have been in staggered file.
Yeah.
I've got to try and protect that area as well. But anyway, found it. It was a daisy chain ID. I think there was a 105 rocket on it with 5 mortar rounds. So, you know, they put their homework in, and the sick bastards.
That's the other thing as well, though, as you're kind of trying to find them, they're constantly seeing how you're going about your work, and you know, they're seeing, for example, how someone like you would use a metal detector to find an ID. So then what they would do is they put a huge, you know, like a bunch of metal at one part. You'd look like you'd come over the metal. You'd think, oh, great, it's not a bomb. It's just a load of brass that they put there. And then actually there's a bomb next to it. You know, so they were constantly seeing how we were working and then changing their tactics. And it was just a game of cat and mouse. You know, you'd do something, you'd figure out how they'd done it. You think, great. And then a week later, they'd then combated that and then now know what you do. So then you then have to know what then they do with it. It was just like that for the 6 months I was there. It was
yeah.
And the clever people, you know, we spoke before and joked saying that, you know, they're shitting on roofs and it's like going back 1,000 years in time. Listen, they are clever fucking people.
They are. The thing is, when you look at it as that's their main job, to build bombs, to find ways to inflict damage to the enemy, you know, I'll hold my hands up. They are pretty one of the best of what they do. It's such a shit way of warfare. It's just a fucking annoying.
Isn't it?
Yeah. But flip it, they have them and then we have our air support. So in a way, it's like... Yeah.
Did you ever find, Corbin, when, you know, you're having those days where it just seems frustrating and you're thinking, for example, I've got to walk down this road and there's an Afghan farmer's telling me there's a bomb there. Did you ever think, you know, what has this got to do with the safety of the British public? Or was it just kind of, I'm here now, I'm doing my job? You know, what was your kind of thoughts on the greater mission, if you like? Or did you not really give too much think to the political side of it?
No, so I think in let's go back to that story there. Like loads of stories going to come out soon, but let's just go back to that one, and that made me think that some of the public are good, some of the Afghanistan civilians there are good. They want to just look after their family. You know, they've told me that there's an idea down there. They didn't have to. Not just that, they are in a position where if the Taliban found out that they have given away one of their positions of a planted IED, he's probably not got his life no more. He's gone. He's wiped off the face of the earth. So in a way, he saved our lives in one point, in one respect, but I think he was really doing it more for the safety of his children. But like I said, if you look at that, they are humane in one light. You know, they do just want to have a good life because that's just the way they live. That's all they know. So when I look at it like that, I feel like, you know, there is some good that we can give to, even if it's just one civilian out there. I feel like I've done my job. I've done my job at a good level. Like I said, if you can save one person's life, wouldn't you feel good? Like, I'm sure everybody would agree with that. Yeah. So when I look at it like that, I think, I got to be quite optimistic and positive in one light of what we did achieve. It seems like to now, if you look at what we have achieved, I think they've pretty much overran the majority of what we did take over anyway. Or I say overran, I believe they've got back into certain areas. So
did you have a chat within your group that sort of alluding to what Andy's question then, like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is this all about? Do you know what I mean?
I think, you know, not usually with each other, but I'm pretty sure I probably murmured that to myself on Stag, out looking at my arcs and just thinking, what the fuck? I'm going to get sniped. I'm going to get fucking sniped. And all I'm doing is looking out of my arcs at what? Shite. There's nothing here. You know, especially like we had, so a couple of Mastiffs that were blown up or whatever, we had a couple of the bullet armored windows. So we put them, or I say they were put in our sangers, in our, basically our position. So to stop any odd fire that's going to come in, so it would give us something. But there was always the odd round that had shown it already pinged off it. So I had to think to myself that at least I had some cover from a bit of sniper round. So there's not much. I'll give you that. If they want to take you out, I'm pretty sure they will.
I think the big thing is there, like what you were saying there, Tom, is the difference when people look at maybe the war, the Second World War, or even the Falklands to then maybe Afghanistan is, you know, the Falklands was under our rule. You know, Germany were about to would have eventually tried to invade the UK, you know, so that it's quite obvious we need to stop this invading force. Whereas Afghanistan, we were going there. I mean, the Afghan government, you know, invited us there to help. But essentially, from a kind of British point of view, you know, a guy sitting in a pub in bloody Liverpool, he's thinking, why are we in Afghanistan? Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit probably like in the Vietnam War for Americans. It's like, what are we doing over there? And I think that's where a lot of people maybe didn't really quite feel the justification, you know, whether it was for the 7/7 bombings and 9/11 and stuff. Regardless of that, I think people thought, why are we spending 10 or 15 years in a country that is just so far away? And like you say there, you got like me and Corbin standing in a field, looking over a field thinking, what the fuck's going on? And I know I certainly did, you know, when it was contentious in a political world anyway, but definitely for me, there was definitely times when I thought, like, how is what I'm doing right now today having any kind of impact on the UK? Like, you know, on global terrorism, what the fuck am I doing here? How is this fixing, you know, how is this potentially stopping the next 9/11 or the next 7/7? There was so many times I just thought, this is fucking bullshit. There's something bigger to it, you know. I'm not into conspiracies and stuff, but still, you just think there's got to be, you know, there's something else going on.
There's some I'm always thinking about stuff like that. Like, what was the real reason that we were there? Because, like, you know, what were we protecting apart from some civilians? And I just think about what we lost, you know, me personally as well. You know, I'm left with, you know, quite a changed life now, really, from that time out there. Yeah.
How was it for you, Corbin, in the sense of, like, for me, I was blown up and lost my leg, obviously. Your brother, he was in the Marines, wasn't he? Your brother,
Yeah.
Was sadly killed in Afghanistan. Now, obviously, got my kind of views on it, and, you know, mine's a twisted sock. I only went, you know, below the knee. Yourself, the fucking tragic loss of your brother, you know, does that make you bitter towards it, our time out there, does it?
So, I'm pretty sad, like, to be honest, that, like, my older bro is, like, I can never have any banter. I can't have a chat with him, can't have a pint with him, you know. When I look at things like that, there's so much that, and I believe this to the bottom of my heart, like, there's so much he had to offer in the world. Like, he had so much to give. He was a good guy, like a good lad, a good man. And, you know, I did look up to him. We were such a close age, you know. We were, it's a sad loss of life, like many that died out there. And then when I look at it like that, I think to myself, what did we achieve? In, like, was it worth it? Like, me now to have a life without my bro, you know, friends dying out there. Like, half my training team is wiped out as well now. That took me through training, and I just think these good fucking top guys are gone. Families are now without, you know, their fathers, brothers, sisters, you name it, they're gone. And then now we've got to live our lives now with that deep void, you know, in our soul. And then I do question, like, was it really worth it, in like that much of, like, so many good lives just wiped away for what? You know, when I look at it like that, I do think that it's a tragedy, really. And not just that, like I said, it's the same as Andy, like, lives that have been dramatically changed now for the rest of their lives. So many things they'll never be able to do in one sense. And I just think they're so sad. Like, yeah, it's such a shit feeling, really.
Was it on that tour? Was it that your brother was killed? Was it, Corbin? Or?
Yeah, so we were both on the same tour together. He was in Northern Helmand, in Kajaki, and I was south, so we're as far away as we could possibly be from each other, which was probably the best. We would probably end up fighting anyway if we were near each other.
Before you tell the story as well, how did he end up as a bootneck and you ended up as a pongo?
Pongo, come on. Anyway,
but anyone's listening, anyone in the army gets called a pongo because they stink, they don't shower, and they've got really poor hygiene.
Wait, there's a reason behind it, though. We don't shower because when you shower, the enemy can spot you and smell you in the woods, can they? That's the reason.
You're not getting any excuse. You fucking stink.
Anyway, so my bro was always watching the documentaries all the time when we were younger. Always putting on the black and white, streaming whatever, National Geographic, fucking World War One, black and white. And I'm just there looking and going, "Fuck me, Trav! Like, let's put some fucking Lord of the Rings on or something, isn't it?" But yeah, he would always watch that. So I knew that bottom of my heart, he was always going in the military. And he always strived to be, you know, competitive. So always wanted to try and be the best as well. Never always quite worked out for him. But anyway, so he joined the Marines. I then eventually, when I decided to join the military, we were always competitive with each other. So it was only inevitable that if he joined the Marines, I was probably going to join a service. So I went and done my para insight course. So I went and done my 2-week para whatever, that insight course pre whatever, and did 2 weeks of that. Really enjoyed it. And then I remember having a drama at home, and I went straight to the careers officer and said, "Yeah, get me in. What's the quickest one to go into?" And obviously my careers office dude was the Rifleman. He's not going to put me in the paras, is he? So that's
your excuse of not fulfilling the standard your brother set. That, you know,
don't you dare. Don't you dare. But as many would say, that is probably my regret. I probably wouldn't have ever joined the Marines, but I believe my personality would have relished in there. Like, my personality is more of a Marine than it would have been a para. But I should have joined the Paras, and it's one of my biggest regrets I've got in life. But I can't look back now because I still achieved some great things in being in the Rifles. I still met some quality guys, some good riflemen.
I got to know some lads. Joking aside, I always give them shit. There are some cracking lads that I got to meet too heavily caught in the Rifles.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. There's some good. There's some good lad. Honestly, there's some real good soldiers. Like you say, you get it in everything. And likewise, I've seen some Marines that are complete mongs as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it's all relevant. Like I said, all I say is doesn't matter what military you join. If you can pass the fitness test, doesn't matter if you can't fucking spell, read, write, whatever. You're in. Like you're gonna pass. There's not many people I've seen or heard of getting absolutely just kicked out just because they're complete fucking mongs. Like some people do still get in, you know, they do slip the net in all regiments.
It's like I suppose it's like all walks of life, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, you're gonna get idiots everywhere, aren't you?
Yeah. Corbin, can I ask what happened? What happened to your brother?
Thanks, Ant. Great question. So he was going on to an attack. It was on a Ross Kemp in Afghanistan documentary actually, and I think the video is online somewhere, which is pretty bullshit. But so he was I think on a strike op towards Ant Hill, or they were bedding in on Ant Hill. They call it in Kajaki, overlooking some compounds and that because they've heard of like a Taliban leader fighter in there, so they were doing that. But I think on the patrol in, they had done their bomber in like the day before, the night before, so they could do a quick strike to get into position and to bed in position. But obviously when you're doing that, you're still going to have a bomberman bump. But as far as I'm aware, they did not bomber again as they're going back into their position. So they got into position. Trav had the GPMG putting the guns in his position to get fire upon the compounds. And the coroner's report believed it to have either been his weapons bipod. So GPMG's bipod, which has been landed, has triggered the pressure pad, which has set off the explosion, which was underneath him. And then another one said that no, he stood on a landmine on top of something else. So yeah, so he unfortunately lost his life there and then. And
what date was this, Corbin?
That was the 11th of January 2009.
Yeah, so it's like what, 3-4 months into the tour,
yeah, exactly that. Yeah, 4 months into tour. Yeah.
Wait, so obviously you're still on the tour at this point. How does that work? I can't even. Yeah,
so I just got off patrol. We had our own operation actually that we did at the same time, which was gnarly actually, because I got shot in my day sack as well. So got shot in my backpack on that patrol. I still got the bullet actually, the round. I think it was a ricochet off the wall, as far as I remember. I've got the video somewhere. It was all rounds pinging off everywhere. It was pretty shit time again. You know, it's like you're fucking full of energy and enthusiasm after that, and you're fucking, saying, all the fucks under the sun as you do. And got back on a high. So on a high as it is, I'm getting I'm actually Dobieing this time. I'm actually having a wash. And I get basically some chatter comes over the radio or whatever, and my sergeant major comes over and just says to me, "Oh, Corb, you've got to get the next chopper out of here. There's a chopper coming in. Get your kit packed. You go in." I was just like, "What? That's not right. Like, how am I managing to leave my lads? For what reason? Like, my R&R is not until whenever, end of Feb." And
you suspect something then, did you?
Yeah, so you do your process of elimination and reasoning. Like everyone has their own reasoning. When stuff happens, you try and figure out why. And only in situations like that, because I'm just a nobody, all right? average Corbin, rifleman. And you think that's quite a big deal. So you're first of all thinking, okay, someone at home's been injured. Someone's died at home. Is it my grandparents, which they class as immediate family? So that would class as you to go home. Or is it something more sinister? But obviously when you're doing the calculations and you're weighing up percentages, my bro's out here with me. I think that's quite a big percentage of it being him, which is unfortunate because a couple of days before I just read one of his letters that he sent out to me as well, because we were passing obviously written letters to each other while we were out there. And yeah, anyway, chopper come in, they said, no, Corb, you're not getting on this one. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, well, is anyone going to say anything to me? And my OC basically come over and said, Corb, well, Rifleman Mackin, as it was, can I have a word? Can I have a chat? Just bring yourself, like, leave your weapon, your body armor, etc. So went into the, as you call it, the scuffle, not the scran hall, which was just a bench, couple tables made out of freaking plywood, and that's it, and a basher above it. That's our mortar fire protection right there. And yeah, we sat down, and he just pretty much said to me, he goes, Corbin, like, there's no easy way to say this. And as he's saying what he's about to say, I have like the biggest outer body experience I've ever had. Like, I've said it before, actually, like, I actually felt like my soul had lifted out of my body. If anyone believes in a soul, like, I felt like just, I don't know what it was, such a rush of everything, but it's so powerful. My whole, like I said, soul lifted. And my officer commanding said, yeah, as it's happening, Rifleman Mackin, no easy way to say this, but your brother has been killed by an IED in Afghanistan. In Kajaki. And that's that moment, your brain is just going on overdrive, doing so many calculations, trying to figure out what the hell's gone on. But the biggest main point that I'd noticed and felt is, like, everything he said is complete truth. It's complete truth. So I've got to now digest all this information, these big, hard-hitting information all in one go. And then question how it's happened, being point man and barmering myself, protecting lads, finding IEDs. And I'm thinking, how the fuck has he died by a fucking IED? One of the shittest ways to go. I'm questioning all this over and over again, thinking, fuck. Then I'm thinking I should have been barmering. I'm thinking I should have been there. Like, everything else is going through my head. And then you get onto the point of, like, my whole life has now changed. From this point on, it is completely changed. And, and what's running through my head? I'm feeling putting on my body armor, magging up, and just going out there and just being that angry rifleman, which is the wrong thing to do, the immature thing to do. But that's all I'm thinking about doing, is just going to slot people just to feel better. Which, again, sometimes you've got to, like, take that step back and just still remember to be a professional rifleman, like, and to try and set an example as well for the rest of the people that are there, that have known the shit news that's just happened. Like, one of their muckers has just lost his bro, also fighting the enemy we're fighting down here.
Such a fucked up thing, that, isn't it? When you say it like
yeah.
Was you expected to stay out there then? Did you initially?
So I was out there for another, like, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, Jesus. I was waiting there for that long. It was at the point where, obviously, they have to ID, obviously, the body and stuff like that was going through everyone's mind. So doing that, and all those questions of that was all fucked up in one respect. And then I think we had a couple more deaths that week as well. I think it was Captain Sawyer. I think it was.
I was on pre-deployment training with him.
Well, yeah,
he was the forward air controller, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah. I think I could have swore, I might be wrong, but I heard that might have been blue on green.
It was blue on blue.
Yeah, or blue on blue. Yeah, I was one of them. That's fucking bullshit. But I heard over the chat. Well, let's not talk about that anyway. So because there was more deaths that had happened out there, and that obviously scuppered everything that was happening with me, bro, with me, the repatriation, everything. And you know what it's like in the military, which is bullshit. Where can we save money? Do we want one flight of a dead body in a parade at Bassett, or do we want to have all three guys together, one plane, less resources, less fuel to spend, that sort of stuff? Politics comes into play, which is bullshit in my opinion. So that's what happened. So stayed out there. But that was such an awkward position for me because there's no R&R for me at the minute. There's no, you know, I've got to digest all this sort of stuff now. And the next thing I'm about to fly my dead bro home back to the UK. And I'm then supposed to have my arms open to see my family, my friends who are fucking probably buzzing that I'm home. You know what it's like. When you get home, you're supposed to be happy. You're at home seeing family and friends. You should be freaking buzzing. I just don't know what's going on, really. I'm in shock. You know, I'm in complete shock still. And then I'm 1 minute in a conflicted war zone, digesting all that's gone on, from finding IDs, from mates getting shot, from people dying, my mates dying, my bro dying. And then the next thing, I'm on a flight home. I'm going to be on a fucking completely different continent, you know, completely different place. And then I'm going to have to play happy family. So to digest all that, and, you know, without my mates that have been through all the shit times in Afghanistan together, I think that probably fucked me up, like, for good, really. Like that changed my whole, personality, really.
Mate, at the age as well, mate, you've just had that innocence taken away from you.
Yeah.
I think back, mate, now to when, and again, mate, like similar ages went through similar things in similar places. And I look back at now when I go into schools and do motivational talks and go into universities and I see young people at 18, 19, 20. And then I think what me and you were doing at 18, 19, 20. And you're thinking like, this
you
is
slap him. Give him a slap.
I mean, but it's not a kind of knock on them because they're living their life. But when I look at it and I go like, it's the only, I'll be deadly honest, right? The only time I ever feel sorry for myself, or I noticeably kind of can feel myself feeling sorry for myself, is when I look back at pictures and I think, fuck me, you were just a baby. Like, you were just so fucking young. And then the shit you went through and your mates went through and likes of you went through, Corbin, and it's like, you're a fucking baby, aren't you? 20 years of age, you know, fuck all about the world. You shouldn't be having to do the things you're doing. It's fucking crazy. And when you talk about that week you've had, I mean,
and then those 2 weeks that you have, that you're still out there, like that's
you
what
still going on patrol and stuff in those 2 weeks, are you, before you get home? Or
no, so that there was pretty much hanging about, like lonely, absolutely lonely. And do you know what? That, you know, give my love to the lads that took me in, but it was the Marines lads that took me in. They took me off my own rifleman. Basically, they put my own rifles, right? And so bad. They chucked me in an R&R tent. So as soon as I got back to Bastion, I'll just get put in there's your bed space, Corb. I'm in R&R tent.
So you left the kind of fob when staying.
Yeah, exactly. So I left my patrol base straight into Bastion, obviously trying to figure out what to do with me. Basically, they know my headspace is not going to be right for the lads, for myself, or even for the public there. It's not fair on them for me to be itchy trigger finger in that environment. Who knows what you're going to do, you know what it's like. It's a switch. All it takes is a rush of me feeling freaking hurt and depressed, and then you ain't going to be thinking straight, and I can't have that on my conscience. So when I got flown back to Bastion, I'm in an R&R tent, and that's where they expect me to stay until I'm flying home, pretty much. Like, how happy are you in an R&R tent? Everyone's fucking buzzing.
Buzzing to get home.
They're all fucking laughing, chatting, story, whatever. And I'm there fucking thinking, fuck me, man. My life's changed. My whole life has just fucking been taken away. I've got no one to speak to. And then interact, like, I've got beard, long fucking hair, like a shoddy dog. Everyone there smelling good, fucking happy as Larry, got their all haircut. And I'm there looking like a dick. fucking stinking, as you say. and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So trying to digest what's going on. Lads found, obviously, that knew Trav very well in the Marines. They knew I was out there as well. They heard, oh, Corb's coming back to Bastion. Let's go and like see if he's all right. Like, obviously, because it's impacted them themselves, hearing about Trav's obviously getting injured. Died, losing his life, which is quite impactful for them. And they took me in. So I think it was Kenny, Joel, and what else was it? I'm trying to think. I can't remember the other name, but anyway, they both took me in and they made my life a bit better out there, and they just took me in their bed spaces and just made things as comforting as possible with what's going on. But at that point, still, I'm in shock. I don't really know what to believe. You know, I don't really know what's going on, and I'm still trying to digest everything that's happened on my tour. Like I said, you know, it's like you go on patrol, you're getting shot, whatever. Like, it's some fucked up shit, especially when you get home and you start thinking about what happened to you and different situation you're in where your life can be taken on that next step.
And I think because those moments each day is just as crazy as the one before, you just kind of get used to it. And it's only when you come home and maybe you're telling friends and family over a beer, and then maybe you tell a story that's just rolling off your tongue because for you it's completely normal. Whereas then they go like, hang on, what the fuck have you just said? What happened? And then that's only when it dawns on you that you think, actually, what we were doing every day wasn't normal at all.
No, that's it. It's not. And then I think it hit home as well. And when I did it, like at one point when I was at home, I'm walking through the street and I'm missing the drains. Like, I'm literally so aware of my ground signs. I'm like, why am I looking at the floor? I'm in freaking the UK. But I could not help to think. I thought, shit, it could happen.
Really? That's mental,
Yeah, I am alert. Like I said, I don't know if it's the same for Andy. Probably more fitting than obviously myself, with Andy being more aware of it, but I don't know. I just think
mine was the people looking at me because the Taliban, you didn't know who was Taliban or not. So if you saw a farmer, like you said before, Corbin, with that kind of guy, and he's looking a bit suspicious, you didn't know whether he was enemy or not. So for a good, I'd say 6 weeks when I was home, I'd be in a pub and I'd be looking over my shoulder all the time, and my dad would be saying, just relax, just chill out, what's the matter? And I'm just like, is he looking? Is he all right over there? Is he just, and I'm not a fighter, do you know what I mean? But it was that kind of...
you're alert. Your body, like I said, your body is just attuned to your life instincts, isn't it? You have fight and flight modes and stuff like that you go through. And that's what I noticed. Even like, not anywhere near a racist or anything like that, and I'm not, but my bodily appearance or mannerisms around people that were wearing, your distashes or whatever, that sort of stuff. Like, I call them distashes. What are the robes? I can't remember what they call them. Anyway, so I am naturally on edge. Like, these are just normal people born in Britain. It's just their religion, which is great, brilliant. Like, I'm happy with that. But from where you've been, or where I've been, and I'm thinking, obviously, all the people look similar to that. My whole body changes. Like I said, I must look like I'm being the type of racist because I'm directing myself away from them, because the feeling it gives my body, my gut, it's like a rush of adrenaline. And I have to get out of that environment because I just feel on edge that much. It changes your whole body.
Yeah, but you'd be a robot though, mate, if you didn't feel those feelings. If you were getting told for 6 months that anyone who looks a certain way is potential Taliban, and watch them and look out for them, and then suddenly, mate, within 48 hours you're walking down the streets of England and there's people dressed exactly like that, you're not being racist by saying that, mate. It's just you've just been programmed a certain way that this country wants you to be for 6 months. It's very difficult to just go, okay, it's not like that no more. It's
What was it like as well coming, and maybe I suppose this might be for you as well, Andy, but like, what was it like coming back, having that discipline for those 6 months, and then coming back to maybe like not having that discipline, or like, I don't know how much time you get off if you come back and then that's it for 3 months, and then, what is that like?
It's difficult for me because I was obviously in hospital, wasn't I? For when,
of course, yeah.
So, but I mean, did you have to go back, Corbin, after?
Well,
your brother's funeral and stuff? Did you go back?
So Well, I think it was 7 days later. Battalion phoned me up saying, Rifleman Mackin, ready to deploy plane for you to get back out there. So did the funeral 7 days, and it was like, hey, let's get back out.
Jesus. So
That's,
7 days, yeah.
7 days, yeah. And
Bloody hell.
anyway, I obviously didn't. Like, that's just stupid. Anyway, another week passed, and they phoned me back up saying, so I'm gone.
I was just going to say, was there any comebacks from them when you said obviously that you wasn't ready to go back?
Well, I said I wasn't ready. I said, okay, no drama, Corb. All right, we'll give you a bit more time. All right then. So I'm doing still trying to analyze what's going on. Anyway, get another week passes or another 5 days or whatever next Friday. Phone call. Right, from Mackin, there we go, ready to come back. We've got another flight out there for you to get back out with your lads. I'm just thinking, what the fuck, man? What's going on? And then the words were, right, from my battalion is, Corbin, you do know that you've had longer compassionate leave than anyone else that has lost a family member. And I just thought, what the fuck? That's it. They just classed it as if it was just like a fucking whatever, uncle, auntie dying or whatever, you know, that sort of stuff. But to me, this is not only just my bro, it's my best mate. And this is something from Afghanistan. And I think they have to maybe look at that in a different light. But it's just black and white. There's your compassionate for whatever member of family dies. And I don't think they understood the fact that this is quite
the fact that he's died doing the job that they want you to go back and do.
I just thought to myself, I thought of it realistically. I thought, if I go back out there, am I going to be a liability to my fire team? Am I also not just that being very selfish to my little bro and my family if I go back out there so soon? We've just freaking buried some brother, whatever. Imagine if they have to bury me next week as well. You know, that might hit home. You know, imagine that. I don't think my little brother, like Milo, bless his heart, he wouldn't be able to handle it, you know? And not just that, maybe my parents wouldn't. And then we've got a whole fucking family then ending their lives. So, like I said, rather than treating yourself as just a number like the military do, or I'd say the British Army definitely did, you've got to assess the situation and think what's for the best interests of just, like I said, my muckers. Would they want me to be on there, itchy trigger finger, not in the right frame of mind? And as you all know, if you are not 100% dedicated to the job at hand, that's where lives are lost. You know, you have to be fully attuned and fixed on the operations that you're about to go on. Because if you're not, you know, people will die. And do you want that on your hands or chest? And I know I wouldn't. So I had to be a bit more of a mature adult, even as a young adult, and make the best decision for my team and for myself and my family. So the answer to me going back out was a no.
Did you get in the shift for that then, did you, in the end? Or?
Not really. I think obviously days had gone on or whatever. I did eventually have to go back, but it was just to my battalion. But there was all my mates there from Afghan anyway that had been shot, whatever, injured. I was back mixing with them anyway, which was quite cool. Or the ones on R&R as well. Like, so it wasn't too bad. Like I said, it was just awful.
Then obviously just going through all that trauma, and then was that the kind of beginning of the end then for you in the military? You just, you know.
Yeah. So that was, I think, again, if I bring it back to being the selfish side of me, like, we're due to go on tour again the next year. Herrick, I think 14 it was. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, so the next year was due to go out, and I thought, if I'm staying in the military for the long run, no way as fuck am I going to be in the stores. Well, I still want to go out there front, you know, whatever, slotting shit. That's me. I still want the adrenaline rush. I want all of that. But I have to then think about my family still. Can they get put through losing another family member? So yeah, that was the beginning of the end, really. But it was dragged out. I was in the military for another year and a half. I was still in there for a while longer because they were trying to get me back on the horse. They were trying to not lose a good rifleman. Yeah, you know, not lose an opera like
obviously
a guy
with the experience of going out there. And
exactly.
With another tour around the corner, then
Yeah,
prized asset there, yeah.
So yeah, that was me done.
What did you find, mate, with the transition, mate? Because I talk about this all the time, and I think a lot of people would assume that losing your leg was the hard bit, or I mean, for me personally, the transition was fucking really tough. I mean, I was drinking a lot, I was gambling a lot,
Yeah.
relationships around me were breaking down, and
Mine's with me. It's fucking hell, you said everything. I'm just like, fuck me, I would have said that.
Yeah,
all those bullet points, and I've got stories of each one of them as well.
For a long time though, mate, I just masked it because, one, I was trying to forge a new career as a motivational speaker. Yeah, so I had to be this kind of motivational figure, but the reality was my life was just going to rat shit all around me, and it was down to not having that structure, not having that purpose, not having this job that I once loved, you know, seeing all my friends still doing the job that, you know, I was doing with them a couple of years beforehand. I had city mates who, you know, they were doing their normal 9 till 5, and if I wanted to have a drink on a Tuesday night, then they couldn't because they were in work Wednesday. So then suddenly you'd maybe drinking on your own, and then gambling too much. And I kind of had this feeling, and I sometimes suffer from it a little bit now, where because my life has been so extreme and it's been so shit and it's been so awful, I think, well, fuck it. If I drink a little bit too much today, or if I have that bet today, it's fucking nowhere near as bad as it was. So you kind of, your range of emotions and your filter almost is so distorted because of what you've been through. Yeah, I found that life, you know, spiraled out of control. You know, I was going nowhere quick in the years kind of that I came out the military. I just wondering if you had any of those similar transitions. Kind of.
Yeah, so I can relate to a lot of it, but obviously in one respect not so much of it, because I didn't lose any limbs or anything like that. So different, obviously, directions, but similar in the sense of when I left, you know, it's like the buzz and the highs and the adrenaline that you always get, the fight and flight modes of being in contact, finding IEDs, getting shot at, shooting at people, being on the edge, thinking you're going to lose your life, all that sort of stuff brought into one. When I got home, I felt like I didn't know where I was going, and I felt like I needed that buzz. I needed that stuff to happen. And what you want the high, you want the adrenaline rush. You go towards your drink, your drugs, fighting, gambling. All right. I remember quite vividly, I had 1 week, I think I spent like all my tour money and savings. I spent for like 15 grand in a week. I just spunked it all, just fucking for fuck it. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
It gave me that buzz. It gave me that buzz that I wanted, but I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care about my life. I didn't care about life. I didn't care about money. I didn't have no concept of any of it. I didn't know how well it could have done because my frame of mind was so completely changed. And my thought on life was just like, I didn't care, you know? And then when you feel like that, you start going on a downhill spiral of thinking like, this is all my life is now, is getting drunk, you know, doing drugs or, you know, gambling. But eventually that's going to run out. And when that slowly starts to run out, and it did, or I can't afford to buy the shit, the fucking drink and all that, and I can't afford to gamble anymore because it's all gone, then what am I left with? You're left with, well, my life's got nothing. So then you feel like you want to end it and just say, I'm done. And that happened like a few times where I started to really be in a position where like, that's it. I'm going to end it and leave this world. But always something come in the back of my mind, and that's like my little bro and stuff like that. And always they would pull, like my mind would always pull me to that light when I'm at that end of like, let's just leave it. Like, who cares anymore? No one will miss me anyway. All that stuff, feeling sorry for yourself. And I ended up being in a position where I was speaking to one of my mates, Junior, actually, such a good guy to me, especially back then. He noticed the struggles that I had. Yeah, speaking to Junior, like, and he really did help me in one. So he's someone I could trust, someone I understood, someone that was military, someone that was on tour same time. And he said to me, Corbin, like, you need help, you need to go and speak to someone, see someone or whatever. And I did. I went to Help Fears, just ask them, like, what does a guy do? Like, this is where I'm at, like, and, you know, quite upset, quite down, lost, really lost. And they helped put me on the right path, like seeing their psych, their doctors, all that sort of stuff, and then going to combat stress, doing all of that stuff, and just trying to digest everything and all the situations I've been in, all the close contacts that I've had, what have you, people being injured, even parts that you can't even digest. Like, I remember, I said one of the contacts I was on, we all ran to irrigation ditch, and I remember, like, it's quite an important story to me, because I think from there it made me feel quite, I don't know, in more like it's I've took something good away from Afghanistan from it, and that's when we were in contact and around the compound there was like a small Afghanistan child was out there, and she was just in the middle of the fire, basically loads of fire rounds coming through, hitting the floor, all the dirt flicking up everywhere. And as soon as we ran through past her, I remember looking to corner saying, fuck, there's a girl there. We're in contact, we're all sprinting to fucking return fire, getting our ditches and cover. First thing I did, look back, I thought, fuck, she's like, bless her, she's just holding her ears, head down, looking at the floor.
Fuck.
Shit scared. And that put things into perspective, and I thought, fuck this, Corb. Got straight out of the ditch, ran straight over, standard fire call speak, put down fire, fucking whatever, I'll cover fire as it is. And I'm running out to get this girl, and I pick up the girl that's from around the back, and I ran all the way around to the other side of the compound, expecting that's her house or her mud hut where she lives, expecting now to be greeted. Obviously I've carried this fucking girl all the way around the back in fire, being greeted hopefully by a family to be fucking happy that I've give them their daughter from fire, so they know she's safe. But like I said, I remember it vividly, that the look I got from the woman, the mum, in her deep dark eyes as she's looking into my eyes, was disgust and hurt and hate and all that sort of stuff. And that's what she looked at me like. And like from that point on, I thought to myself, it doesn't matter what we are here to do, what civilians to save, but they really don't want us there. But I took away from that position that actually I've done some good. I've looked after this girl that was in the middle of nowhere, in dead man's land pretty much. And I take that away to me in a good light, in a good respect. I feel like, I've done something that's also good out there. Especially as that young girl, but I feel so sorry that that's what the children are being brought up in. That's all they're gonna know. How kids are getting brought up and how much they learn and understand. All she's going to be brought up in, and it hits home that her whole life is conflict. And they got injured, like kids and that got injured from our own fire, our own mortar rounds. It's like enemy positions are all they're in the compounds where normal family members are. But what do we do when we're putting our air support in, and not just that, when we're putting our mortar rounds? God forbid, they didn't hurt many civilians, but I remember they did. Like, and that's one thing that we've now got to take away.
I always say, if you haven't been there, you can't really, you can never really talk properly about the good thing and the bad thing that goes on at war, because if you don't know what it's like, it's, you make a mistake in your office, then the wrong email gets sent, or there's a delay or something. You make the tiniest mistake in Afghanistan and people die. A lot of the time it's innocent civilians that have got no reason to die, but sadly that's just what happens at war. And that's what frustrates me when people say, oh, why are we doing this, or why aren't we doing that? And it's like, you've got no fucking idea of how difficult that job is out there, and sadly, like you say, people die, and there's so many things where it's not black and white, it's a grey area. You look at, like you've just said then, if the Taliban are firing rockets from you, and they're firing those rockets from you from a house that's got 10 children in, what do you do there? There isn't a right or wrong. Like, what do you do? It's you can ask 10 people, you probably get 10 different answers. Do you let this guy keep on firing rockets at you? Do you try and take this guy out? Do you take all of them out? What you do? Do you know what I mean? It's, again, as I sit here now, fucking nearly 13 years on, from being out there, I think to myself, like, it's such a fucked up job, especially for young lads to be making those decisions. It's fucking mental. And you say, like, you spoke to combat stress. I'm just more surprised there's not more people who need to speak to people about this, because, you know, it's just a fucking crazy situation.
Mate, I was having a conversation with my missus yesterday. I didn't realize it. I think we've talked about this before, but I didn't realize that the biggest killer for under 50s for males in the UK is actually suicide. I didn't realize this. And if you just think of you've got people, going back from like the Falklands, who've fought in the Falklands, the Gulf War, you've got Iraq and Afghanistan, early to late 2000s, all of those individuals and a large proportion of them struggling. It's just, even now to this day in 2020, like, which you never hear about, it's just fucking crazy.
Sometimes, mate, I think for me personally, Corbin, it'd be interesting your views on this, but for me personally, I've not had any issues with thinking back to things, for example, particular moments. I don't ever have any flashbacks or really negative things, and I don't view them in negative ways, so I don't ever have an issue with that. But because of my now filtered approach to things, it's led me and put me in situations that has made me feel depressed and has made me kind of have a shitty life. So it's not. So for years and years, I thought, well, I've not got PTSD, so I don't need to speak to anyone, because to me, PTSD was I'm not having flashbacks about nothing. But like I said before, I was taking risks and I was drinking too much and gambling too much, and because I had this so distorted filter, it was then put me in situations that were making me feel depressed and were making me feel mentally unwell. But essentially, it was still from Afghanistan. I was just viewing it as it's not PTSD because it's not a flashback. Whereas, like you say, the things that you're kind of subject to,
I think post-traumatic stress in its own way is relevant to that person and how they deal with it. So you can't, I think, with post-traumatic stress, like, granted, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I do, or have got them, or I have had them, and I have struggled with different things now and then. But I've learned so much to try and combat that. When I start to feel on edge and feeling in that environment of depression and feeling like I'm going back there, I straight away take myself out of that vicinity. Whether it's I go for a run, quickly fucking shoes on, go. Whether I go climbing, rock climbing and that stuff. And that all helps me get away from me feeling like I'm going towards that area of depression and back there to Afghanistan. But on another level, like post-traumatic stress as well, you don't need to just have your flashbacks to have it. That's just one key point. It's like when people have, if you look at someone that's got cancer, right? And you look at the categories, what makes you've got cancer, you only need to have 2 of them, but you've got cancer. You don't need to have all 5, if you see what I mean. So with you saying that maybe you haven't had post-traumatic stress because you haven't had flashbacks or whatever, but you probably have. You just don't know it. It's probably that depression feelings that you get or have got or had, you going down the drinking avenue, all that sort of stuff. That's all relevant to having post-traumatic stress. Like, that's your way of coping with those times. But like I said, you'll probably find out that actually, no, it's down to you having post-traumatic stress. You just don't or didn't know it or don't know it. So yeah, like I said, it's all relevant to that person and how they deal with their own issues that they've had or subjecting it to something.
Did you find when you went to help then with combat stress, then, you that was like your life starting to improve, and what you said then about going for a run and stuff like that, is that where your kind of new career kind of spawned from that, like the challenges? And I know you've raised money for Help for Heroes. Is that where that almost the next chapter of your life was almost born from, you kind of going to seek help initially?
Well, seeking help was great for understanding. So to acknowledge, it's basically to put a name to my issues that I was having, the problems that I was having, the problems that I was feeling, to put a name to it. That was all good. But the same, this is going to sound so fucking shit. But, and I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to. But because obviously, like, different people in different environments, and like Afghanistan and all that sort of different situation we're in. Certain times when was seeking help and I could not help just look around and just think,
oh yeah,
you're a fucking liar, you're a prick. I was such a bad judger, and I just shouldn't have been like that because I don't know people's stories. But you just get that opinion of some people and feel like, well, what the fuck did you ever do? Like, what have you done to feel like what problems you're saying you've got? And
but mate, I think that though, mate, what you're saying, whether it's right or wrong, whether they are lying or whether they are blagging it or what, mate, I don't think it's wrong to. I think that's just a natural thing that what you've been through. It's like you're thinking, fucking hell, like, you know,
comparing.
Like you say, everyone copes.
Yeah,
comparing. And you compare, yeah, and it's. Funny enough, I spoke with my dad about this the other day, and my dad's not a very empathetic person at all. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not, and he's not because he lost his wife at 36. He had to bring up 3 kids on his own. He managed to maintain a job in the fire service for 30 years. His son's being blown up. His son's lost his leg.
Yeah.
But if you moan to my dad about, you know, something trivial, he's got no time for you because he thinks, fucking hell, have you seen what I've been through? So he's got that type of thing. So I don't think it's wrong for you to think of yourself in a wrong position for judging people. That's just, you know, it's a natural thing, in my eyes anyway.
Yeah. No, that's right. So I don't remember where we're at, what question we're on before I went on that.
just about, like, you know, just you seeked help about the PTSD.
Yes. So sorry. So yeah, seeking help, like a same thing again. Like I'm in a position where I'm finding it really hard to maybe open up in the right environment. So even though I'm going now, I'm in the right environment, I'm still finding it hard for anyone to understand what I've been through because they've not been there, they've not seen it, they've not done it. I feel like the main release that I ever get, and you may be the same, is when you're actually just randomly talking to your friends that have been a tour of Afghanistan.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether or not you're talking about the in detailed stuff, which no one really does, and all the effects, like the memories that you have in your head, you just naturally feel like a release, don't you? You've been in that brotherhood, that environment. That's the best medicine in one light that you can have. Obviously, sometimes it's too much, and it can go the opposite way. But I feel, me personally, I felt safer being around my mates that have been out there. I felt like people understand and they know. You don't have to. What's the word? You don't have to put on
justify and explain everything, do you?
Exactly that. You do not have to explain. I do not have to put a mask on and a face like I do to the rest of the people in the world that know me, my friends, family at home that do not have a clue or understand any of it. So every day, smiley, happy Corbin is actually not so smiley, happy. It's all a front, you know? So yeah, but trying to be someone else isn't a bad thing. It helps you take away your mind and mentality on the bad shit. So like I said, trying to be someone, a happy person, trying to achieve stuff, I think helps me from feeling like the person who I was in Afghanistan and what we've been through or done and stuff like that. So in a way, it's like just trying to push it to a side and hide it. It's my way of dodging a bullet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And how did just while Andy's dog is attacking someone at the door, so Corbin, how did you sort of think where your life was going to go next, and like after the British Army? Like, did you have an idea of a career that and a career path that your life wanted to take, or?
So no, but I know that I wanted a 9-to-5 job, and because of out there, you know how short life is, and you know how dangerous it was. You start. I'm going off my own feelings, my own personalities. Personalities. I'm chatting like I've got 10 personalities in me. Maybe I have. Anyway, so going off obviously from Afghanistan to the military life, out looking on the Sangha and thinking about takeaways and what have you, and all the lovely food in this world, you start to then reflect on what you want in life. I think you have such a long time on stag, you're on your own generally. And then I asked myself, what do I want in life? And I'm like, okay, I want a 9-to-5 job. I think I'm ready to probably start having a 9-to-5 job, maybe looking for a family and that sort of stuff. So when eventually I got home, I know that I was going on a wrong path. So you start to try and figure out where you want to go in life. So it was like, okay, I need a job. Oh, I can't fucking gamble, can I? Or I can't buy drink or drugs. So I was like, I need a job. And yeah, so I went down engineering route, something that I can do hands-on, something to keep me busy, especially with my hands and that. I just felt like I needed to always be active. I needed to be doing something. If I wasn't always doing something, then I started to get depressed and started to feel down. I always needed to have a focus. So got into an apprenticeship, real bad pay at the start, did that. Did it with British Gas, which I was eventually really happy with, but it just wasn't enough for me. So I needed something bigger and better to do, something that's really gonna allow me to get the adrenaline rush that I had in the military, but you can't get it from anywhere. There's really nothing on that large scale until I was crossing the internet, looking at the internet, and I seen an application for Ninja Warrior. So I applied for Ninja Warrior.
But when would this have been then? When was this?
That was in 2015 or 2014. I applied, I think, but it's 2015 filming. So yeah, I applied for Ninja Warrior, and yeah, I managed to get on that, which was my, like I said, my goal. Not only did it channel my mind and energy into starting fitness again, because that was my release. Yeah, energy, like it releases all the endorphins into your body and into your mind, that it's something that you need to help dodge depression. So I did, applied my fitness into a goal, and that was like Ninja Warrior. So yeah.
And how did you find, was it a kind of people started noticing it and stuff like that, or was it, did you enjoy that side of things and wanted to go again at it? I mean, how did that change your life?
Yeah, so the adrenaline rush is huge. It's so bad. Like my anxieties and everything else just flew onto another level. Like I was so anxious, so like I just felt like so on edge. But I just felt like in a way it was another release for me to release all that build up of anger, but I could release it on something. So I did that, and then I started to feeling like I was achieving something in life. Like people were noticing that Corbin's doing something good. Like he's starting to get on a good level playing field. He's starting to go in the right direction. So I tried to think, not only was it good for my life and where I'm at, it was also me finding what I was good at. So I was always good at the obstacle course in the military. I set like the fastest time on the assault course in Catterick. And I thought, okay, so I'm good at assault courses. So I channeled that into civilian life, and that was Ninja Warrior. And yeah, I'd done pretty well without training properly for it. So that was a good decision of mine.
I've seen it a few times. It's Chris Kamara's on it, isn't he?
That's right, Chris Kamara.
Ben Shepherd, isn't it, as well?
Ben Shepherd, good guy he is.
Where did he film it then? What is that whole setup then?
Manchester, they film it. So it's in Manchester, in the old train station or whatever it is.
GMX.
Is that it? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, all right. That's
like conference centre. The conference centre.
That would do. Yeah, we'll have that. I can't remember. But yeah, it's in Manchester, and it's the smell of it gives me anxiety of the place. For going to a train station, I start getting fucking anxiety attack. That's how much of an adrenaline rush it gives me. Like my whole body's changed since Afghanistan. Like I've noticed it does weird fucking things now, and that sort of stuff like brings that out of me. But it's such a wild ride, that whole show. But it brought me on to, like I said, on a good chapter of my life of where I can actually achieve stuff on a good level.
Where's it the Netflix then? Did that then follow on from?
Can I go for a piss?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Where we at? Someone remind me.
How did you go from Ninja Warrior and to having a Netflix show?
So did 2 Ninja Warriors, and after that I figured out how best to train to win that show. So Ninja Warrior. So I changed my job, was running a ninja park. Good for my mind, mentality, all that sort of stuff. I could always release all the energy if I wanted to by playing around. And I got a message from a friend from America who I got really well acquainted with from the UK. He was part of the American Coast Guard. So they were coming down helping all the British Coast Guard, like just helping patrol our areas and that sort of stuff. He went back to America and he messaged me going, "Hey, Corb, I've put you forward for a show." I was like, "No way." He's like, "What one?" He goes, "It's called Ultimate Beastmaster." I was like, "I've never heard of it before, mate." He goes, "Check it out. It's on Netflix now." I went and checked it out. I thought, how have I never seen this? This is insane. It's like next level Ninja Warrior. The obstacles are gigantic. It's like this big beastly dragon and there's a big mouth at like the start position. And then you walk through there and then that's it. You're straight onto the course. It's like insane. And anyway, he put me forward for it. I'd done my application as you do, and there we go. I got on the show. So I was selected for Team Great Britain. There was, how many of us? Nine of us all in total selected for Team Great Britain. And there was 9 countries in total that all sent their athletes out there to compete. Wow. So it was quite a big scale. It was like 100 athletes altogether, I think. And yeah, we all just started getting put in our own group of athletes, as you do, just different people from each country. That's one group, different, like 7 groups, sorry. And that's it. Off you go, competing on Netflix. So that's pretty much how I managed to get invited on it, is from a friend from America.
And how did that go for you then? How did Team GB do?
Well, we obviously smashed it. We are the Brits. We wing everything. But yeah, so I won the show myself. Individually, I'm going to put that one out there. Nah, there was 9 of us, but it's individual as well. So as a whole, Team Great Britain won, but I was the only Team Great Britain athlete left competing all the way to the very end, and yeah, managed to get through the whole lot and was victor on the last obstacle there was. Like, they call it stage 4, which is like this big, like 60 or 100 foot, some foot in the air, and you got to do it as fast as you can. Basically, obstacle course vertically, and you just got to fly up as quick as you can.
Jesus,
it's on Netflix tonight.
I'm gonna watch it as well. Yeah, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it. Usually, called like things like that would recommend it. I've never seen.
This is what I said at the start. No one's fucking knows it. No one's seen it. Apart from, I'm getting messages from Brazil, Argentina, America going, "Hey," and France. Merci beaucoup avoir chez soi. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi chez soi? I'm getting messages going, "Corb, you're amazing." I'm like, yeah, fucking my mates don't say that today. Mates don't give a fuck.
The kind? Is there another show after that then, or they invite you back to defend the title? Or
that's the thing. So obviously I did series 3. So if you're watching it and you're interested in my own episodes, it is quite long. My episodes were 7, 8, and 9, but if you watch the rest of the episodes, you'll see how beastly the rest of these athletes were. Like, you've got like Olympic climbers in this from their country. Yeah. They are absolute machines. It's not like Ninja Warrior. You get freaking jokes on there and clown outfits, fucking jumping and falling in the water. These people are like super ninjas. They're on another level, which makes me think, a guy that plays a bit of football, how did he manage to fucking wing it? Anyway, well, obviously I'm a rifleman. No Marine would. So yeah, give it a watch, mate. Let me know what you think.
7, 8, and 9. What did you say? There was more than one season, or was that?
Yeah, so the one that you'll see at the minute, they've got 2 versions. They've got the Ultimate Beastmaster, which is all 3 series, but then they've got the Ultimate Beastmaster Great Britain. So that will just show you more clips of the British guys. It's basically more orientated to the British public if you watch that. But if you watch the normal show, that's just everyone chatting on there as well. But it's still the same show. It's still all the same show, but the Ultimate Beastmaster Great Britain is more orientated to our athletes, so you get more of an idea on it. It's a bit more backing story, all that sort of stuff.
I'm gonna watch that tonight. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
see you jumping around.
Oh, don't, mate. I'm in tights.
What does life look like now then, kind of job-wise, then, around obviously the hobbies of, assault courses and TV shows and stuff? What's the kind of...
Well, I'm still... Like, I've been through bouts of injuries at the minute. I'm only getting older. Can grow a beard now as well. So, so I'm through bouts of injuries at the minute, but I feel like I'm still at a position where I could probably win Ninja Warrior. So you said before about, am I going to compete again for my title on Netflix? that there online is still unannounced of the next series, which is good that it's unannounced because they've not cancelled it. Like every other show, they tell you when they've terminated a series, they're never going to make another one. This is still to be continued. And they said to us when we did our Netflix competition, like, everyone here, you need to compete as hard as you can, because if you do well on this show, you'll get invited back for an all-star series, which will be all the series best athletes, which obviously I want to be the victor of that. It might be $1 million you'll win then instead of 50K. But
so do you win money for winning these shows?
yeah, so I won in total on the Netflix one 61 grand.
Fucking hell, did you?
Yeah, that's America for you, mate. And then you got ITV Ninja Warrior, which is pretty on a quite a big level in the UK, and they've got loads of money. Guess how much they offer us?
Go on, a grand.
Have a guess.
A grand.
Right, go on, Andy. You guess.
$5 grand, I've just said.
0.
Nothing.
Really?
Fucking nothing. And you think of how much effort you put into train, because you can't just fluke it to win it. Like, you can fluke it to get to the finals, which I've done. But to win that show, you need to train and dedicate a lot of your life to it to really be able to climb up that rope at the very end as well. It honestly, it's really tough, and it doesn't look it as tough as it is, but it is. And so yeah, so my next goals is waiting for Ninja Warrior, but COVID-19 has completely scuppered my whole years of competing. So I was invited to compete for Team Great Britain for the World OCR Championships, but for 100 meter OCR. So they call it OCR Ninja now. So the World OCR Olympics, that was going to be in Russia in Sochi. So the Olympic Park in Sochi was where I was going to be doing it. You probably know it anyway, Andy, don't you? So that there was where I was going to be competing for Great Britain against, well, the rest of the world in OCR. But that's all been scuppered, gone. Ninja Warrior Series 6, scuppered, fucking gone till whenever. And then Beastmaster is just a waiting game for an acknowledgement.
Mate, we had you really we had a lady called Eunice on the podcast. She's a stunt woman now. She was on Gladiator, and you strike me as someone who could really go down like the stunt, like the stuntman route. Do you know what I mean?
Funny you say that, because at one point I was going to go down that route. I did do a bit of stunts work for a movie that I was on, actually. It was what was it called? Which one was that? Do you know The Kingsman? Yeah. So I was on that one. I did a couple of stuff on there. It wasn't stunts on that one. It was just being an standard extra style shit. But you've seen me a few times on it, which is pretty cool. But it's one of them where you got a magnifying glass, and I'm gonna have to point. Me out. It's that shit. But on which one is it? Come on. It's got Sean Bean in it and Danny Dyer, and it's called. How can I fucking forget it? Can't remember it.
Quite old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was, but I did stunts on there, but they didn't pay me for stunts, which was shit, because they get an absolute fortune. But still, I would love to have gone down that route, but I think now is probably not a bit too old now. Not as nimble as what I used to.
What's the future then now, Corbin? Obviously, the shows they keep competing where you can. And
yeah, so my main goal in life is to try and be try and get into a position in life where I don't have to worry about work, like probably a lot of people's goals. But I'm trying to go down that route of passive income. So trying to get as much passive income as I can, so I can start doing a bit more shows and spend more time with my family. So I've got a little 1-year-old ninja daughter, River, who's quality. And I would like to spend a lot of time with her, but I'm trying to dedicate a lot of time at the minute to get that passive income. And on the flip side of that, I am looking at obviously winning Ninja Warrior UK. That's my goal. If I can do that, that'll be a massive tick in my box, and then I can say I've competed and won but 2 of the biggest competitions in Ninja, in that environment in the world. And then to top it off, if I don't get off on Ninja, I'd love to win the OCR World Championships. So for Team Great Britain.
Yeah, it's such a pity COVID. Well, COVID's fucking ruined everything, hasn't it? So
yeah, exactly, it has, which is a shame.
Regardless of whether just from, mate, we obviously got like quite deep at times during the podcast, and I just think it's great though, mate, how you've used your kind of ninja profile now, mate, to to now hear about everything you've gone through as well, because it's cool, you know, going over to the States and coming in 60 grand and being a ninja. You know, that's a pretty cool story to tell over here.
Well, the thing is,
it's mate, you've got a story to tell, mate, and it's, you know, we said before about, you know, men and the mental health, and I think for someone like yourself, mate, being so open and honest like you have been with us today, mate, it's fucking huge, man, and it's definitely it's just so nice to hear, you know, how you can come through such dark and tragic times, and now to see you putting all your effort into that, mate, it's just great to see, and it's inspirational, and I think it's a great platform for you, mate, to go.
Well, I appreciate that. It's nice of you both to pretty much invite me on as well, and allow me to say some of the things that I've probably not really had the right time or been in the right frame of mind to ever speak about it. But I feel like I'm now getting to that point where, like what you've said, maybe I might better give some help to some people in a dark place, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all doom and gloom after Afghanistan. You know, it's perception and frame of mind, and you just need to find what works for you. And that's the biggest thing, and having that confidence, and maybe looking up to, like, even yourself, Andy, looking up to what things you've done, and channeling whatever problems you've got in your life to work for you, to help better your life in whatever way you can, and give you a purpose, because that's the biggest thing. What are we here for is the biggest question to know, man, isn't it? And just trying to find out what your purpose is good enough for me. So yeah,
really good way to end on, mate. And also what you just mentioned is what you alluded to earlier, is the amount of things that, like, exercise can benefit not just the body but the mind. You know, it's just like you said, when things get a little bit tough, just throwing on your running shoes and just going out for a run. You know, we talk about it so many times, just how and it's obviously poignant at the moment because gyms have been fucking closed, and they're obviously opening back soon. But you know how important exercise is for everything. Is it's good to.
That's what I mean, mate. You've said it perfectly, Tom. You know, you've went through what you've been through, Corbin, and then you've now got this kind of physical goal of not just, you say, going for a run. It's doing these fucking crazy ninja shows, man, and it just shows you giving yourself that purpose and that goal, and that physical exercise can just take you to new levels, you know, and take you as far away from the initial problem, you know, as you can imagine. So it's awesome to see, and hopefully this COVID fucks off ASAP, and I can get back to hearing about you, mate, doing all these crazy things.
Maybe. Who knows how long it's going to stay around for? But we got to be optimistic, don't we?
Yeah, 100%. Thanks so much, mate. Anything you want to say before we finish at all, mate? Anything you want to plug or? Honestly,
I'm good. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for inviting me on and getting some things on my chest. I know I'm going to feel another weight lifted off my chest again, like many of the chats I've done. So it's all good. So thanks for that.
Oh, mate. Thanks so much as well.
It's been awesome.